Welcome to the Vantage HR Influencers Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Circle, the simple and AI-powered rewards and recognition platform for employee engagement.
Providing the best customer service and experience is your ultimate goal, whether you are a product-based industry or a service-based industry. But who will help you provide the best customer service? Well, they are your biggest assets, your employees. But if your employees are disengaged, do you think they will deliver best results in terms of productivity and performance? Ultimately, employee performance directly impacts the customer service. Hence, engaged employees deliver enhanced customer service. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Vantage Influencers Podcast. I am your host, Gautam. Today, we are going to discuss how engaged employees help deliver enhanced customer service at work. And to shed light on this topic, we have just the right person with us. Let me introduce you to Mr. Shep Hyken, CAO and customer service expert at Shepard Presentations, LLC. Shep is a customer service and experience speaker and is an international leading authority on customer service, customer experience, and loyalty in business. He is New York Times and Wall Street Journal best-selling author of 7 best-selling books that have made its presence on the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and more. Shep has worked with thousands of companies and organizations who want to build loyal relationships with their customers and employees. Shep has been inducted into the National Speakers Association Hall of Fame for lifetime achievement in the speaking profession. Hello, Shep. Welcome to the show.
It is great to be here, and thank you so much. That introduction would have made my mother very proud.
I think then, when this podcast goes live, I think you should surely share a link to your mother and, maybe she'll appreciate me and you both.
Sounds like a plan.
Sure. So, we are truly delighted to have you with us today. And thank you so much for taking out time and, speaking to our listeners and sharing your valuable thoughts on this topic. So before we could begin with the session, I know I've introduced you to our listeners, but we would still like to know something more about yourself. So if you would love to, brief us about yourself, something that I might have missed mentioning about you.
Oh, gosh. Well, since we mentioned my mother in kind of a fun way, back when I was age 12, I started my first business, and that was a magic show business for birthday parties. I was hired to go entertain. And after I came back from my first birthday party, my mom gave me my first customer service lesson. She said, send a thank you note. Now, whether it's a thank you note, an email, a text, or whatever, today it's so important you say thank you. I mean, this was back when I was a little kid. I still do it. By the way, that afternoon after I came back, my dad said, Mom has a good idea. After the note, follow up with a phone call the parents who hired you to perform for those little kids and thank them again and ask them, how do they like the show? And, basically what was happening is my parents were teaching me some really important ideas. Say thank you, get feedback, act on the feedback. And it was a great experience to learn that, not knowing it was called customer service or experience. And here I am today, just almost right out of college. And now almost 40 years later, I'm still doing this business and focusing on the whole idea of taking great care of our clients and customers, regardless of the kind of business they're in.
Well, thank you so much, Shep. I think, when we say the cliched dialogue that, behind every successful man, there's a woman. I think there was your mother right behind you. It's a very small age. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that was good advice from my mom. But I will tell you, my wife has been very instrumental in my success as well.
Wow.
She's right behind there promoting me every step of the way.
Well, I think you have 2 amazing women, powerful women supporting you, and I think nobody can stop you with that.
Well, thank you.
And we hope you have great success ahead as well. And here I would like to, slowly begin with the session and our conversation.
Sure.
So, considering your experience and with customer service and customer experience and as a public speaker, so what do you think, like in a true sense, what is employee engagement according to you?
Wow. So there's not many, but there are a number of definitions of employee engagement. And if you listen to an executive, a CEO who defines it one way, somebody defines it another. But here's the bottom line. Are our employees present when they come to work? Are they doing the best job that they can? I have this philosophy about consistency, that everybody should come to work with the idea that today can be the best day. And each day, if you come to work with that idea, whatever your job is, whatever your responsibilities is to be better today than yesterday, every day. And you may or may not hit it. It doesn't matter, but it's the effort. And when it comes to employee engagement, it's, and this is where you get your different definitions. Is it the leadership, management, supervisors engaging with employees, or is it employees engaging with customers? And I think both have to happen. You have to take care and engage your employees the way you want your customers to be engaged. I have this idea, I call it the employee golden rule. And we all know the golden rule, do unto others as you want done unto us. Well, the employee golden rule is to treat employees, or do unto employees as you want done unto your customers. So if we engage them well, they turn around and engage customers well.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shep. I think that's a great point. If we want our customers to be happy, we should make our employees happy at first. I think that is what will deliver the good results, right?
Great way to summarize it. Yep.
Sure. And, when we say, there's a relation between employee engagement and customer service. So in that scenario, how do engaged employees help deliver enhanced customer service?
So the question is, how do engaged employees help deliver enhanced in customer service?
Yes.
So again, if we treat them the way we want our customers treated, I think people understand how to be treated. I just actually wrote an article and did a cartoon, and I have this guy on a megaphone screaming at his employees, "You guys are terrible. Now go out there and be nice to the customer." It just doesn't work that way, So I believe that, we have to hire good people. We have to train them well. We have to empower them. And by the way, when you empower somebody to do the job that they were hired to do and let them know that they're doing a good job, they feel really good about working with that company. So I would say the engaged, and I'm going to go back and kind of tie in my last answer to this answer. The engaged employee is engaged with their company. And that means they're also engaged with their customers.
Sure. I think I truly get that point. And when you say that, when you give that little bit of appreciation to your employees that, yes, you've done a good job, I think that is the prime motivator for any employee to be engaged and feel motivated to work and give enough productivity, which ultimately, impacts the bottom line. And speaking about, appreciating employee appreciation or recognition, which of course, we as Vantage Circle are an employee engagement platform, and we deliver into, strict R&R programs and employee feedback surveys. So considering that, what are the ways to engage employees for an amazing customer experience? Because we believe that rewards and recognition does play an important part. But what are the other ways to engage employees?
Well, I think it's important to recognize right up front. People say, well, pay them well and they'll perform well. And there's a flaw in that thinking. Pay them well, they get excited about coming to work for you initially. But once they get there, the employee experience takes over. Almost it's more important than anything. So compensation, while it needs to be fair, if not even competitive, gets pushed lower and lower when you provide employees the experience that they want, which includes, they feel fulfilled in their job. They're appreciated by their colleagues as well as their managers. People leave work not because they aren't paid well. Well, some will, but the majority of them don't like what's happening to them at work. They don't like the way they're being treated, or maybe they're not being appreciated. And I think it's really important. I have this idea I wrote about in one of my books, The Amazement Revolution. I wrote about the concept of serious fun, F-U-N, fun. Now, fun is not about having a party. and having a great time and just let's just go crazy and have fun. No, fun is an acronym. F stands for fulfillment, U stands for uniqueness, N stands for next. And let's talk about what fulfillment is. Are we hiring people that are really good at the job that we're hiring them to do? And you can train people to be good at what they do. So they will be fulfilled when they are in the right job for them. Uniqueness is about a unique talent an individual might have. I'm going to be very basic with this, but perhaps somebody speaks a foreign language that nobody else does. So we can exploit that unique talent and let people use that talent when it's appropriate, even if it's just a small amount of time compared to the overall job. If they get to use their talent in such a way to help the company, they feel good. So we've got fulfillment, uniqueness, and then there's next. What's coming up next? What are we most excited about? Is there a new product that we're launching? Have we hired somebody new that's going to revamp a program internally? It doesn't matter. If there's something that excites employees, whatever it is, they will be excited about coming back to work the next day. By the way, maybe the company's just such a great place to work that they are excited to come back the next day, every day. So fulfillment, uniqueness, and next. If you want your employees to come, do good work, be engaged at work as well as with customers, then practice this idea called fun, fulfillment, uniqueness, and next.
Thank you, Shep. I think that was a great explanation and a great example as to how you defined fun. And I think this I will definitely communicate to my colleagues and my entire workplace as well. And I think we can sum it up in a way that, employee satisfaction and that anticipation that what am I going to get out of it? Will I ever get, recognized for the efforts that I have put into my work? Will my leader notice this? I think these are the questions that every employee thinks of. And I think if they are fulfilled, I think that is when the engagement levels can go up. And as a result, they will show higher productivity and it will directly impact the customer experience as well. Am I right? I mean, did I get this right?
Yeah. And what's happening on the inside of a company is felt on the outside by customers. And it's really it's simple as saying it that way. Yeah. And it is cultural. No doubt. There's no doubt the culture of an organization, which starts with the leader, permeates through the organization to the outside with the customer.
Yeah, and I think that is very persuasive in its own way. And, since we have been talking about customer experience, employee engagement, and our topic is all about customer service today. So, what is the definition of good customer service? I'm asking this to you because you are an expert in this topic. So if you could just enlighten us on this question that, what is the definition of good customer service according to you?
Wow. There's so many definitions of customer service. Some people say customer service happens when customer experience breaks down. I don't like that. I think the customer support department takes care of the experience if it breaks down. But to me, customer service is not a department. It's a philosophy, and it becomes the responsibility of every single employee to understand what the service vision is for the company and act on it. And whether you've got outside customers, who are the people that pay us money, and we call them customers, clients, patrons, guests, whatever you want to call them. You've also got your internal customers, the people you work with. So if you're not dealing with outside people, you're supporting people internally. Sometimes you're even doing both. So, the definition of customer service is really a good customer. I want to take that to another level. So you asked me about customer service, but what does it mean to deliver good customer service? Yes. Do you have to be over the top and make people go, that's the most amazing service I've ever had? And the answer to that is no, you don't. If you want people to come back again and again, you need to create a consistent and predictable experience that at least meets their expectations. And I always say just be a tiny bit better than average. And that means your customers say things like, they're always so helpful. They always get back to me quickly. The word always followed by something positive means there's this predictability, there's this consistency. And when it's what they want, which is common sense, this is what everybody wants, I don't think it's that hard to deliver a good experience. Once in a while, something amazing is going to fall in your lap. Maybe somebody has a problem and you step up and do more than usual to take care of them. Maybe you overhear, if you're at a restaurant and you're a server and you overhear it's this couple's anniversary and you surprise them at the end with a little cake. You're not going to surprise them with a little cake every single time they come back. But, that's why I say that's the kind of thing that just fell in your lap and you were able to do something. But if every time they come back, the service is friendly, it's right on time, it's, you've got knowledgeable servers that can tell you what's on the menu, and people say they're always friendly, they're always helpful, it's always good, that word always, again, followed by something positive.
Wow, I think that was great. And, when you spoke about consistency and, repeat customers, my next question was actually relating to that itself, which is, I know you mentioned about consistency, but I would like to know a little more about, about that, which is, what is the key to good customer service? Like, if you could just expand a little bit more on that. Topic.
Sure. Well, let's go back to the word you just used a few minutes ago, and that is culture. I think it starts with the right culture. Leadership has to define what does customer service look like in our organization. And I love if they would create a one-sentence statement. I call it the mantra. This is what we're about. The Ritz-Carlton is, we're ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. That's a great definition of what great service is in that organization. So leadership needs to define it. It needs to be communicated. Every employee, frontline, behind the scenes, everybody needs to be trained and understand what it is. The leadership and managers and supervisors need to model and demonstrate that behavior. Remember, we talked about what's inside, happening on the inside is felt on the outside. So treat the people the way you want your customers treated. And then if somebody's out of alignment, bring them back in. They need to be taught what to do. Sometimes it's not just a person. It could be an entire department. If it's a large company, it could be a division of a company or a region of the company. And then finally at the end, and we mentioned this early in our conversation, you need to appreciate and show that people are doing a good job. So if they're doing great, let them know they're doing great.
I think I will completely agree with you on this. And, I am somebody who is completely, now that you are somebody who is so much related to, dedicated to customer service and experience, I'm mostly dedicated to company culture, DEI, and, diversity and inclusion activities and company culture. So, whenever somebody speaks about good company culture, that really, really grabs my attention. And I think our listeners would love to know this part that, you really don't have to shout. You really don't have to be very loud about your, doings and what you have to, give to your customers. You really don't have to shout it out. What you can do is subtly, when you show them that you have a good company culture, you are really appreciating your employees for even smallest of the things that they're doing. That itself can speak a lot of words. I think that itself acts as I think that itself acts as a persuasion in the customer's head that, if this company is doing so good with their employees, with their products, with the culture that they have, then I should really approach them as well.
Yes.
Sure. And, it was really nice talking to you today, and I really want to keep this conversation going, but time will not permit us. So we are slowly approaching towards the end of this conversation. But before we let you go, I would just like to ask you that how would you like to summarize your thoughts on this topic of engaged employees and customer service?
So I guess let's go back to the main points of our conversation. Number one, the employee golden rule. Do unto employees as you want done unto the customer. That sets the tone and recognize that it is the culture that is going to drive the experience both internally and externally. If you want engaged employees, it is all about leadership, especially the person at the helm of the company who says, this is what we want. This is what we expect. So it starts with the culture. And I'd like to also emphasize that customer service is not a department. It is a philosophy to be embraced by all.
Thank you so much, Shep. I think, you have given our listeners and myself a lot of lines to quote if I'm writing an article next time on customer service, I think I would definitely refer to this podcast. And I think,
well, thank you.
Surely. And it was a great pleasure talking to you today. And I think our listeners would agree on that too. But before we let you go, I would just ask you to, tell us that how can our listeners reach out to you if they have to reach out to you for any reason?
Yeah, just go to hyken.com, HYKEN.com. And I am there. You'll learn everything about me. By the way, one of the things we have available, if you go to my website, hyken.com, I have research that I do every year. This year, sponsored by Amazon. And that is available to you at no charge. All you've got to do is click on the link that says research, and it'll take you straight to that page. And it's free and it's fun to read. There's some great stats, facts, and findings in there that'll help you make great decisions related to service and experience.
Thank you so much, Shep. I think I'll be the first one to go and read on that.
All right. Sounds great. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for, giving us your time today. And, speaking on this topic and giving our listeners some great amount of knowledge about customer service and employee engagement. And listeners, you just heard Shep Hyken talk about how engaged employees can help deliver good customer service and customer experience. And with this, I would like to sign off today from our podcast channel. Please stay tuned to Vantage Influencers podcast for more such upcoming content and knowledgeable content. Thank you.
All right. Great job.
Thanks for listening to the Vantage HR Influencers podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage HR Influencers podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.